easy answer to this question. There is not an easy answer to this question. You just have to describe, and I've told you, don't be in a haste to give a single answer. Otherwise, it will tell me or any comparativist that you do not have a comprehensive or holistic view of what a state is. Whether are you referring to those by declarative or theory of statehood, or those are the constitutive or theory of statehood? Which one are you referring to? So, a benchmark point of reference is the membership roster of the UN, which currently stands at 193, which people are picked to refer to 193. But you should also know that I mentioned Hague, Italy, 2016, Hague, Harrop, and then McCormick. They argue that even the 193 you are picked to mention, 4 of them, which I explained early on, for practical purpose or pragmatic purposes, most of their important state activities, which will make them look sovereign, these things are done through other bigger states or sovereign states. So for practical reasons, I do not mean the political reasons, these ones wouldn't have been states, okay? Yeah, even though these states, Andorra, Liechtenstein, Monaco, and San Marino, they meet the legal definition of the states, yet they play a minimal role in interstate relations. In interstate relations and in their international relations, they do this through the bigger states that they are neighbors with. Most of the international relations, their interstate affairs, done with this. For example, Monaco will do that with what? Which states? Monaco, France. France, they will regard the head of state as the French president. Okay, so most of their things. So for practical reasons, as political scientists, well, this one, are they states worth the assault? Now, note also that once the UN membership, which is 193, right? It excludes several territories that function much like states. It excludes the de facto states. Are you with me? In other words, it excludes those states formed through the declarative theory of statehood. So, the 193 doesn't give a comprehensive figure. There are several territories of outside that brackets. Now, these states, even though they are lacking their either independence or legitimacy, okay, they are not accepted, they don't have that political recognition. So, states like Kosovo, Palestine, Taiwan, and Western Sahara. Well, for example, Taiwan would have been a member, but it was expelled. So, just what? Revoking the license doesn't mean the system is not a state. Even if it has all these features, in almost all respects, though it is structured and continues to function as a state. Yes, Taiwan, nothing has changed except the recognition, but it continues to perform the 5 key functions as Jean Bourguin mentioned, typical of sovereign states. Right, so back to the question, how many states are there in the world? It's likely to elicit the response. It depends on what you mean by the states. Okay, it depends on what you mean by the states. And then we proceed. Don't just say it depends on what you mean by the states. Give us the possible scenarios, okay? And in each scenario, there are numbers, some examples. In the example, if you write this, you get maybe 10, then you are good to go. Then simply say 193. What is 193? You are a comparativist. You need to what? Give in-depth synthesis. Now, take a child. Hey, Carol Pemakom 2016, they opt for the number 189. Okay? And how did they arrive at 189? They take the membership of the Jew and they take the 4 out. Well, all these are states formed by constitutive theory. Okay? These are states formed by the de jure, they are de jure states. But the 4, for practical reasons, they do not meet up even the Montevideo criteria. Okay? So then they decide to take them out and arrive at 189. Do you understand? Okay, good. But we should not overlook the discussion of microstates, quasi-states, and de facto states. So if you are asked this question, how many states do we have? You can even begin by saying that, well, this question brings to attention the issue of what? Microstates, quasi-states, and what? De facto states. It is not easy to answer such a question. How many states are there in the world? Okay, it depends on whether one will want to combine all de facto states, microstates, and what have you. Right? Now, if you are to combine everything, you have at least like 205 states. Okay, about 200. I usually say about 200. If you want to put everything together. But then, going by the UN membership, and then you take the 4, which they tell argue they do not meet the minimum criteria, then you get 189. So it is right. Well. We are ending here, my dear friends. Next week we will look at the final one, classifying states based on income.